If you're a hockey fan, you're well aware of the fact that Alex Pietrangelo's name has been circulating for a couple months now with massive rumors about him in free agency and whatnot and where he would go. And I haven't made a video talking about this, even though Winnipeg had been linked as a possible team involved, because I just didn't see it realistically as an option, and I realistically also didn't see it as really him leaving St. Louis. They had just won a cup the last year. He's their captain. He's a very important part of their team. I just don't see that type of guy leaving, and I was very shocked to see the breaking news today that he and the St. Louis Blues have broken talks, and they are no longer going to be talking, and he's going to pursue free agency as a viable option for him to sign with this offseason. And that's pretty big, so let's talk about this. If we really look at the fact, if Winnipeg was actually to go out there and make an offer to Alex Pietrangelo that was suitable to what he'd probably get from other teams looking to make him offers, it's probably going to be in the upwards of the market of $8 to $9 million a year, if I had to really guess. That's what every analyst is saying right now, what they're expecting him to sign for, roughly around in that ballpark, and that is a hefty bill to swallow for any GM to have to pay out for an elite player, without a doubt. But when we look at the Winnipeg Jets and how many teams actually have cap space to go and even sign a guy like that, or even sign anyone that is decent caliber player, because of how hard the cap is going to be this year due to the coronavirus pandemic and everything that happened with the season, the Winnipeg Jets find themselves in an interesting situation. With $15 million in projected cap and possibly even more on the way if potential trades can be made to make more cap, there are a lot of potential things they could do, and let's talk about this. If the Winnipeg Jets were to even use a small part of that $15 million and sign Alex Pietrangelo, I think they could still make a very solid roster with the leftover change involved. The only problem being with that is that what are you going to do when you get to 2021? That is the year where the Jets are going to have to really look at what they want to do, because they're going to have to pay Patrik Laine. Patrik Laine will be a free agent after the next season, and when that being done, what are you going to do? And just to clarify, Patrik Laine will be a restricted free agent nonetheless, but still, what would happen? Will he want to be traded? What is the situation going to look like with Laine? And because of that and how much money he could command, you might be dipping into Laine's payday if he chooses to stay long term, and what that would be if you were to sign Pietrangelo. And I think that's the big if right now that a lot of Jets fans are kind of forgetting while they're looking at Pietrangelo. Yes, with the $15 million that we have in cap, we could sign Pietrangelo at an 8.5 cap hit and still build a competitive team. Go out and sign a guy like Cody Eakin, keep guys like Jansen Harkins, Jack Roslovic on cheap contracts, keeping Sami Niku, and even going out and maybe keeping Dylan DeMello with that last chunk of change and shoring up the last a little bit, or even going out to get a guy who I think the Jets will sign in Travis Hamonic. And because of that, I think that there are options, and it definitely does work in signing Pietrangelo. But the real issue is when you get into the 2021 free agents, not only will it be Patrik Laine, but center Adam Lowry will be a free agent, and also defenseman Neil Pionk will be in need of a payday as well. What are you going to do there? Neil Pionk just came off of a fantastic season with his first year in Winnipeg. Do you want to see him be moved already, or do you want to keep him as a part of the future of the defense? There's a lot of decisions that are going to need to be made by Cheveldayoff and the management team in the next coming up, year, basically, with those players and what they're going to do with the shape of the roster and the direction of the team that they're going to go with. And because of that, that is why I don't see a guy like Alex Pietrangelo being signed this year by the Winnipeg Jets. Not because they can't financially afford it, but because I think it is too risky when you look at what type of players they could be losing if they are willing to sign him now. The Jets really want to bring in Alex Pietrangelo and possibly lose Neil Pionk and Patrik Laine because of the cap issues, or maybe keep only one of those guys, lose Tucker Pullman as depth as well, including guys like Matthew Perreault, Adam Lowry, and Andrew Kopp, all really good depth players, lose all of that key depth, and what are you left with? Hopefully guys that can fill the roles from your prospect systems and from the Moose. But what happens if you can't, right? That's always the big what if. And the Jets are trying to compete and win now. And I don't see them wanting to give up all of that potential talent in the future just to sign a guy that could be beneficial for the next 3 to 4 years. But after that, who knows what his game could look like. We have no idea how well Pietrangelo is going to age with his contract. So because of that, I just don't know if I want the Jets to make this decision. I wouldn't be unhappy to see Pietrangelo in a Winnipeg uniform, obviously. That's not what I'm saying. And I think any team that would cover this and talk about this type of situation would feel the same way. It's not that I don't want Pietrangelo, I just don't think that it's financially feasible for them to actually go out and sign him while looking at what else needs to be done after this year. Although we do have a ton of cap this year, also because of Buffalo leaving and whatnot and all of that, that is big and huge. but we're going to have to put that money back into the current players we already have on the roster. If not, move them and trade them. And what will that look like? And what will that make the cap situation look like as well, right? You're not going to trade Patrick Laine for a guy on entry level, most likely, so you're probably have to be bringing cap back there as well, and there's all those types of situations that you're going to have to think about and evaluate if you're a GM looking to sign Pietrangelo, especially if you're Winnipeg, because although you can make it work now, I don't think it works for the future. And if you're even looking at what Winnipeg has signed for next season to begin with, they do have a lot in their roster to build. The only contract forwards they have for next season are Blake Wheeler, Kyle Connor, Patrick Laine, Mark Scheifele, Nikolai Ehlers, Matthew Perreault, Adam Lowry, and Andrew Kopp. Basically half of their offense is missing there. Their almost entire bottom six is not without a clue, and also not to mention the fact that Brian Little might not even play again. So what are you going to do with that middle six spot? Are you going to give it to Andrew Kopp? Are you going to give it to Lowry? Whatever, what is going to happen there. The Jets have a lot of things they have to do with their offense this year and figuring out what's going to be the direction they go with and moving forward and trying to get back to that level of competitiveness that got them to the Western Conference Final only 2 years ago. It's very hard and confusing. They're one of those teams where I look at that I think that although we're right at that level of competitiveness of almost winning a Stanley Cup just a few years ago, and I really do believe that they are right, just a little key piece away, one little tweak away from being that team again, you have to take into consideration that it could be worth it to bring in Alex Pietrangelo, but is it worth giving up Patrick Laine and possibly even Neil Pionk, or risking losing both of those guys, and even guys like Andrew Kopp and Adam Lowry and Andrew Kopp, just to bring in a all-star defenseman now and hopefully try to win with that? But then what happens after if you don't win this season or next season, right? You're gone. Those players are gone. And then you're left having to pick up the pieces and try to rebuild and go for it again. And what happens when Blake Wheeler gets older and older into that $8.25 million contract that expires at the end of 2023, 2024? That's a long time, and Blake Wheeler is not going to be this elite player for the rest of this contract at 34 years old. I'm sorry, but it's most likely he will decline, and he will start to show age eventually. It's just going to happen to players. It's how sports work. We've seen it in every league on the planet and throughout history. It's just what will happen. And we can't keep wasting these years in trying to get there and trying to, experiment with, maybe this will work with an all-star signing or going out. I don't think that's the key. I still am under the belief, and I'm going to end this video talking about it basically, that although we can go out and sign some big-name guys this year because we have the money and the cap to do it, I don't think it's the feasible decision. I think guys signing cheaper contracts that are solid two-way type players, not all-stars, but guys that play good minutes, that are solid players on any cup-winning team. Guys like Travis Hamonic, who can be great for the blue end, keeping Dylan DeMello, going out and keeping even Cody Eakin, for example, on a low contract for the bottom six, going out and getting Mikael Granlund in free agency to finally shore up that middle spot. And if Brian Little does retire and that cap does become available, then maybe look at signing Pietrangelo because you have that extra wiggle room. But unless Brian Little is off the books completely, and maybe even more money is off the books completely, I would need to see at least maybe another $6 million cleared off the books for me to feel comfortable as a Jets fan to them to go out and sign Pietrangelo to a massive contract like it's been rumored he's seeking. If it's anywhere up to $8.5 to $9 million a season, I want them to have enough cushion to be able to make sure they can sign Neil Pionk, sign Patrick Laine, and just have enough cap to just be competitive, build a good team. I don't want them to commit all this money to one guy and be screwed. We've seen what's happened with Toronto, what they put all this money into their top six with their top offense, and it's not working well now. And now they're kind of they're screwed because they don't have that ability to play with the cap as much because they're so close to it because of how much they're paying. I don't want to become that type of team that has all those contracts that isn't winning with the players we have. We need to evaluate what we have, find players that will plug into what we need and help us win now. And that is my belief what the Jets should do for the free agency. And that is also my thoughts on Alex Pietrangelo. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Did you think would you like to see Alex Pietrangelo first of all on Winnipeg? Obviously I would, but do you think it is the right decision long term? Do you think it's a good decision long term? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, just browsing around on YouTube and you found the video and you enjoyed, definitely consider dropping a subscription. We are on that road to 200 subscribers, and the support means so much to me. Thank you guys for all the support. It does mean the world. It really does. Thank you so much. And with all that being said, I'm going to end the video here. Peace out, take care, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.